Keep yourself in the loop of everything football. Listen to Alex and Jeremiah on the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Hello there, I'm Jeremiah.
I am Alex, always and forever here.
Dedicated to college and NFL football. The latest football news on and off the field. NFL draft trade rumors. We've got you covered from the NFL, Big Ten, SEC, Big 12, Pac-12, ACC, and everything else in between. Listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Thank you for tuning in to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, where we discuss the latest news, rumors, and games of the NFL and college football. From the latest signings to this year's breakout stars and all the news in between, as always, I'm Jeremiah.
And I am Alex.
And happy Halloween to our listeners out there.
Yeah, happy Halloween to everybody out there. It's October 31st. What are you going to be for Halloween?
I actually kind of already dressed up this past weekend. I went to a couple of Halloween parties, and I totally procrastinated on my Halloween costume this year. Mm-hmm. And I dressed up as an emoji, and it was the laughing, crying face one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
we used to have the shirt or something?
No, what I did, I went to this Halloween store here in Sacramento. It's called Spirits Halloween.
Okay. They put them all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah. It's on like
they have them a few different places.
Loman's Plaza.
Yeah.
I think you know which one I'm talking about.
No, literally, they're all over the place. So
yeah, I know.
I have no reason to go out to that one.
Yeah, I know they're all over the place.
There's one like 100 yards from my house.
So there's
they're literally all over the place.
Yeah, they're all over the place. Well, I went to a Spirits Halloween location. Mm-hmm. And there's these pair of emoji glasses with the laughing, crying face on top of the shades.
Oh, okay.
I was like, okay, I can do this.
That's cheap.
And it was $10. And I was like, you know what? I don't have a yellow shirt. I'm going to go buy me a yellow shirt. So I drove all the way to Kohl's, bought me a yellow shirt.
I mean, go to Michael's. Is there a Michael's near you?
No, Kohl's is a lot closer.
You can get those cheap like shirts you're meant to draw on and stuff.
No, but I wanted a shirt that I could wear more than once a year.
Fair enough.
So I bought a shirt for
it would have been worth the one-time buy for like $6.
I bought a shirt for $6.
Yeah, okay.
Boom, $16, and money well spent right there.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
I suppose so.
So yeah, that's what I was for Halloween.
There you go, man.
Yeah, and the last year I was like a hybrid of an 80s, 90s rapper, and the year before that I was Woody
from Toy Story.
Yes,
nice. Mm-hmm. Does the costume good?
Actually, that Woody one actually was the best looking one I've had in a while.
Wow.
Yeah, you should have seen my costume from last year. That hybrid of the 80s and 90s rapper. It was pretty dope.
I don't even know how you make that.
I actually kind of bought it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's funny because I went to this store in Old Town Sacramento called Evangeline's.
Yes, I love Evangeline's.
And then they had this costume called Rap Idol costume, and I was like, this looks like Vanilla Ice.
Yep.
And it was, but when I put it on, I didn't look like Vanilla Ice.
Of course you did.
I looked like Mocha Ice, and that's the name I gave myself the whole entire night.
Was it a big hit?
It was a big hit. Just see, I went to Republic, the bar on
downtown, yeah, on
16 and
R.
I think L.
I think something like that.
Yeah. And then the lot of girls were like, "Oh, I love your little necklace," and it was a fake one. But yeah, it was a big hit that day. It was a big hit.
Oh, what, my chain?
My chain hang low. No kidding.
Lord.
And then my Woody costume was a big hit as well. And then my emoji costume,
mixed results.
It got, well, yeah, I kind of expected that, but I'm proud of it. Mm-hmm. It's, you know how like when Quentin Tarantino was part of his flop from that Grindhouse movie.
Oh, I mean that wasn't necessarily his movie, but yes, I know what you mean.
But you know the
Death Proof,
the Death Proof movie.
Yeah,
I was like that.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, just move on.
Yeah, well, you know what might be a scary Halloween situation for one team is flying all the way to England just to have a tie.
I know, and
I was so excited.
We have another tie again, Alex.
I'll tell you what, 2 games ended in overtime yesterday. You don't know how I was sitting there going, tie.
No. I know which one you're talking about. You're talking about the Raiders and Bucks game. I was watching
and I was also talking about last night's Sunday night game.
Yes. And I
was
like,
sitting there just, I was like, tie. Please tie.
I was like, no.
Man, I know you don't like the Ties.
I don't like them.
Well,
They're dumb.
yesterday morning, the Redskins and the Bengals tied with one another in England in Wembley Stadium, 27-27, despite 458 yards passing and 2 scores from Kirk Cousins. The Redskins are now 4-3-1. The Bengals flip it 3-4-1.
This really hurts both teams. I'm gonna say this because
a little bit strong divisions, yeah.
Yeah, because we're gonna talk about the Eagles and Cowboys later in this segment. But the fact that they have a tie, it hurts their chances to win this division.
Yeah, and then the Bengals, I mean, they're in a good AFC North, even if the division is a little lower on, at least so far, the wins. So, yeah, it hurts their team for sure. We look at the Chiefs-Colts and another, horror situation in term that your starting quarterback, Alex Smith, Mr. Protect the Ball, Mr. No Turnovers, got hurt in this game. He ended up coming out with a concussion twice. He came out of the game once. He said it was his ear, but I thought it was a concussion from the get-go. Nick Foles, though, in relief, 223 yards and 2 scores. He played well. The Chiefs won this one 30-14 over the Colts. Chiefs moved to 5-2 on the year. The Colts dropped to 3-6.
Yeah, and that first Alex Smith hit, that really scared me.
Because it was two of the same thing. You're sliding. You're giving yourself up. You're expecting not to be hit like that.
Yeah, and then his teammate had to pick him up, and the reps had to kind of show him out to the sideline. And then
when you get your ear like that, it can really shake your.
He looked woozy too.
Exactly. I'm pretty sure. I don't think it was some ear thing.
No, it wasn't. It was more than an ear.
But I'm saying even if it was or wasn't, when you get hit in your ear, that can definitely just noise itself can shake your.
Yeah, I was surprised that they let him back into the game.
Me too. Yeah.
And
it must have really been some kind of. I don't know what it could have been, but. I mean, if it wasn't a concussion at that point, the second hit definitely probably completed the process. So, hopefully he's okay. Like we said, Alex Smith came out, but Nick Foles played pretty well in relief.
Remember, he came back to the Chiefs because he's used to being in Andy Reid's offense. So, really good fit right there. Really good fit.
We moved to another game, like I said, that I wanted to be to be a tie.
I'm really glad this game wasn't a tie, but I would have been surprised if it didn't end in a tie. Because of the way this game was going. And I was like, oh my gosh, this game.
Field goals late.
23 penalties for one team, which is an NFL record, by the way.
So another horror moment, despite a NFL record 23. I thought it was 24 at one point.
It might have been 24.
NFL penalty. Yeah. Either way, both of those are records, regardless of if it's one of them.
It don't matter.
Yes, for most penalties in a game, the Raiders beat themselves and somehow beat the Buccaneers 30-24. They moved to 5-0 on the road, still without a loss on the road. 6-2 overall, and they are in first place of the AFC West.
They're tied for first place.
Yeah, but the tiebreakers, they would be first. And then the Buccaneers, now winless at home, moved to 3-4. Behind a huge day from Derek Carr, a passing record for the Raiders, 513 yards and 4 scores.
That's saying a lot right there.
He got with some great quarterbacks to play for that team. He definitely benefited from an overtime in which he entered, I think, overtime with 485 yards. And then Amari Cooper had a career-high day for him with 12 receptions, 173, and 1 score there, even though they could have put the game on ice late with a long pass down the sideline in which he dropped.
He dropped,
that was his thing last year. He actually only has about two huge drops this year, but last year his thing was dropping passes, so he's definitely gotten better at that, but it peeked its head out at that moment. But the Raiders win this one, like we said, 30-24. They are tied record-wise with the with the Broncos 6-2, but they are in first place.
Yeah,
the Chiefs are right behind them now with 5-2.
And you have we'll talk about the Chargers later, but the Buccaneers. This shows me what kind of team that they are. They can't even beat a team that was penalized 23, 24 times, and they couldn't let Jameis Winston lose your number one pick to go down the field, maybe get a field goal. Couldn't do it. I just don't understand why. You're not going to have your
defense.
Exactly.
Lack of a cohesive offense. Before we move to the next game, you know what my favorite moment of this game was?
What?
So, you know who Donald Penn is, yes?
Mm-hmm. So, yes, I do, yes.
So Donald Penn, former left tackle of the Buccaneers, whom they were playing one another. Rematch of Super Bowl from 2000. Hey. So the Buccaneers they kind of unceremoniously released Donald Penn. He was having good seasons with them. I don't think he was struggling, whatever it was. He was playing well. And they kind of unceremoniously released him, and now he is the left tackle and playing better than ever probably with the Raiders. Well, on his first return to the Buccaneers in Raymond James Stadium, he caught a touchdown pass.
Yes, he
on
did.
A tackle-eligible kind of out route for the gigantic man. He caught, and that's like his 6th touchdown in his career, too. I guess the Buccaneers used to do the same thing with him. But I thought that was kind of a little, a morale victory there for him. So, moving on, a surprising outcome this week, I suppose, is the Saints defeated the Seahawks 25-20, moving to 3-4 on the year and 2-2 at home. The Seahawks fall to 4-2-1. Drew Brees 265 yards and 1 score. Tim Hightower, the backup running back, 102 yards as a team leader because Mark Ingram fumbled early in the game and was not really put back in the game afterwards, which I don't agree with. I told you that. I don't think that's a good form of, punishment or I think it's a confidence breaker. Take him out a couple plays maybe, but he's a guy who's fumbled the ball only 3 times his entire career. It's not a constant thing with him. But you put somebody in, Tim Hightower, who had a good game, but he has fumbled the ball close to 20 times in his career.
Not only that, he didn't have that explosiveness.
Yeah, there's a reason he's not a starter.
Exactly, he's not a starter in this league.
There's a reason he's a committee kind of guy, But they did enough to win. The Seahawks didn't do much at all to win, so Russell Wilson looked bad again. He's really
against a really bad defense.
Yeah, and the Saints, even late in the game, they let Doug Baldwin kind of run down the middle of the field.
I was hoping he would have scored just for my fantasy team. I was hoping he was.
I bet you were.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson, 253 and 1. Had a horrible game in terms of a QBR, if you follow that, 38.3. Only as a team did they rush for 74 yards. Russell Wilson still not a dual threat after hurting his knee early in the year. So we'll see where they go from there. Again, they move for the Saints, 3-4 on the year. The Seahawks drop to 4-2-1. Moving on, the Texans defeat the Lions in an ugly game, honestly. They stay undefeated at home, 5-0. Now they are 5-3 on the year. 4-4 for the Lions. Matt Stafford led the way for the Lions, 240 yards and 1 TD. He is actually the leading passer in this game because Mr. Brock Osweiler threw for 186 yards, a score, and a pick on 20 for 29. Eventually, you're not going to win games like that. This team looks like a team that's going to get in the playoffs and again get rolled like they did last year. You're going to run into somebody that's going to beat you now.
Even though they might host a playoff game, because I think they could win the division because it's really weak.
Oh yeah,
this year, and it was last year as well. Yeah,
they're sitting in first place currently at 5-3, followed by the Tennessee Titans at 4-4. So
they're
not, they're not instilling any kind of insanely huge confidence.
But they can win it, and they are 5-0.
Oh yeah, they'll win that.
Even though that if they happen to host a playoff game, they're still going to get steamrolled.
Yeah, you look at a team. They had 58 yards rushing. The Lions as a team, right? And they still only lost by a touchdown to the Texans. That means you're not putting out any kind of offense. You're not. You had 105 yards rushing. You had a score from Lamar Miller, but your quarterback's not doing anything, if I was a Texan fan, to instill any kind of confidence in me that he can take you deep into the playoffs. So.
Yeah, and there was a report saying that people in the Texans building organization that Brock Osweiler has lost his confidence a little bit.
Has lost his confidence or lost their confidence?
No, his.
His own confidence? I wouldn't be surprised. I mean,
and he's played like it, too. I wasn't surprised by that report at all.
Now, somebody who has claimed to not lose any confidence in himself, that is Ryan Fitzpatrick for the New York Jets, who, man, I picked the Browns to win this week. They looked like they were going to do it. Josh McCown becomes the first 300-yard passer, or at least whatever it was. I think the amount of yards he had in one quarter was the first since the 80s for the Browns. 341 yards and 2 scores from him. Terrell Pryor, 101 yards. They played great. They were winning 20-7 at halftime, and they end up losing, unfortunately, to the Jets, 31-28. I really had them winning this game. I feel bad for them. They moved to 0-8 on the year, still winless. The Jets fumbled their way to a 3-5 start now, winning this one, moving to 3-5. Man, I really thought they had this one. If anything, I'm not gonna lie. That is a Halloween nightmare.
I really thought they were going to do it too.
I almost called it.
You did.
I had them.
You did. And Anthony called them winning the previous week.
Yeah.
And then I told you guys.
I was a little closer this week.
I told you guys on Thursday that if the Browns would have won, I think it would have happened already.
I think it would have been this week.
Yeah, I think
you got to. They're gonna fall in. They can't go winless. They're gonna fall into a game.
They're going to get a game. I just don't know what week it's going to be.
I thought it was going to be this one.
I don't know what week this team's going to win, but I know for a fact they're going to win at least 1 or 2 games. But because they are in the lead for the first pick, I think they're still going to get the first pick.
Oh yeah, they got that pretty much locked. I think.
They pretty much got that locked, unless the Niners go winless for the rest of the season, which I think it could happen.
I think I actually Browns win a few games.
I think it could really happen. But
I'm in agreement with you. All right, moving to an actually decent football game, and actually, I would have rather watched the Jets-Brown game than this one. The
Jets and Browns game was actually pretty good. Actually, yeah.
The Patriots defeat the Bills 41-25. The Patriots moved to 7-1 on the year. They definitely look like the best team in football right now. The Bills moved to 4-4 on the year. Tom Brady led the way with 315 yards, 4 scores. For any fantasy owners out there that lost LaShawn McCoy and handcuffed themselves with Michael Gillislee as a backup, he had a good game, 85 yards and a score. Rob Gronkowski gets his 69th touchdown of his career, making him the all-time leading touchdown catcher for the Patriots. He had 5 receptions for 109 yards and a score in which gave him the record. The Bills just couldn't do anything to stop the Patriots. I mean, they scored 14 in the first, 10 in the second, 14 again in the third, and they scored a field goal in the fourth. They just were rolling on all cylinders.
And the Patriots look like they got better, and that's scary.
Well, they did.
Speaking of Halloween,
arguably the best quarterback. Very nice.
Yeah,
arguably getting the best quarterback of all time back on your team. Yeah, that'll do it.
Probably the spookiest offense in the league.
You're on fire.
Yeah, I'm in Flago, baby. Let's go.
Man. Moving to a rematch of the AFC. I was going to say NFL.
I was like, what?
Sorry. Moving to a rematch of the NFC Championship game of this past year. The Panthers looked a lot like the same game almost. Win this one 30-20. At halftime, it was the same exact score. It was 24-7. Carson Palmer had a lot of garbage time yardage, leading the game with 363 yards and 3 scores. Jonathan Stewart, back from injury, making fantasy fans like me happy with 95 yards and 2 scores. David Johnson at one point had 3 carries for 5 yards. They were smothering this Cardinal offense. The Cardinals moved to 3-4-1, and the Panthers moved to 2-5 on the year. Both these teams still a huge disappointment. If anybody is concerned, just a huge disappointment after being the NFC Championship participants last year.
Yeah, NFC Championship game. And Carson Palmer was sacked 8 times yesterday.
Yes, he was.
Wow.
And that is 7 was a record in his career.
Yeah, and in 8.
So 8 obviously is a record.
Both of these teams, it's hard for me to see them enter the playoff race at this point. I did say that the Cardinals had a chance to become a wild card team, I think, like a few weeks ago. Yeah, I can't see it anymore. There's so many good teams this year.
More. I forget what the word is when teams are good more often, like teams that were bad become good again. I forget what that phrase is, but yeah, I agree with you on that. Moving to the Chargers and the Broncos game, the Broncos win this one 27-19 in a close one. The Broncos now move to 6-2, and like we said, are in a tie in a sense record-wise with the Raiders, but the Raiders have the tiebreak to be the first team in the AFC West. Chargers dropped to 3-5-1 and 4 on the road. They are the last team in the AFC West. So one thing I want to mention, Wade Phillips did get hurt in this game. Somebody ran into him on the sideline. It's not the first time that's happened to poor Wade Phillips in the last few years. He is okay, it is being reported. He had a scare. He went to the hospital, put him on one of those stretcher beds that I think he hurt his neck. They put him on a kind of stabilized bed thing, but it is being reported that he is okay. So that is good to hear. Trevor Siemian was the leading passer for the game. 276 and 1 interception for him. Not an amazing day. Anytime you have a defense that can score you a few touchdowns, which they did score at least one, Bradley Roby with a touchdown interception return, you're in a good spot. Phillip Rivers, 267, 2-3 though. So a little bit short on yardage there. One more touchdown, but he had 3 back-breaking picks. That's really the difference in this game. Devontae Booker got hurt early but came back for a mediocre game, 54 yards and a score. The big thing being fumbles that the Broncos lost. They lost 3 fumbles. Well, they lost 2 fumbles. They had 3 fumbles, but they gained those all 3 back in terms of turnovers for themselves with interceptions. Bradley Roby won for return for 49 yards and a score. Darian Stewart, safety there, 1 for 25 yards return, but no score. And TJ Ward, the opposite safety, 1 for 23. That's 97 yards alone on return interception. There was a return touchdown for the Chargers as well. Casey Hayward, 1 for 24 yards and a score.
Yeah. And the AFC West is probably the class of the AFC. I have to say that
you have
because
the Raiders, you have Denver, and then the Chiefs are 5-2. You know,
yeah,
they have one less game, but
the Chargers could be easily 8-0 right now. That's how good of a season they have.
Yeah, they've been weirdly in their games. So
because if you think about if the Chargers would have found some way to win those games early in the year, they will probably be in first place right now. This is how good this division is.
Yeah,
and I think we're gonna have 3 teams in the playoffs in this division.
I'm interested.
I think we might.
I'm interested to see the Raiders play the Broncos this year.
That's what I'm really excited for the Sunday night game, which is actually Denver at the Oakland Raiders, and I think it's going to be kind of like the rivalry, kind of coming back, so to speak.
I don't know, man. I think the Broncos take that one because it's not a road game for the Raiders.
No, you know what? I'm going to say what I think on Friday. Okay.
I'll have to listen to the show and find out.
That's if I make it Friday.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
All right, moving to the last of the afternoon games. The Packers lose to the Falcons there on a very close one point game, actually. 33-32. The Falcons moved to 5-3 on the year. Avoid another 4-0 to 4-4 start like they did last year. And the Packers moved to 4-3 on the year. Matt Ryan leads the way, 288 yards and 3 scores for him. Not to be outdone, Aaron Rodgers adds quite a stat line of his own.
Quite a day.
4 scores, 246 yards. He added 60 yards on the ground. He was the leading rusher for the team.
That is not good. Oh,
see,
man.
I talked to Ben about this, and I don't mean this because I know the guy either. Niles Davis, whether it's him, whether it's Don, whether it's Ripkowski, whoever you put back there, they're not giving these guys enough time to get any kind of rhythm. Niles Davis, 3 carries. Don Jackson, 4 carries. Ripkowski only had 6 carries. He was the leading running back with 34 yards. You're not giving these guys time to gain rhythm in a game, which is what you need. It's like when quarterbacks, complete passes, 4 or 5 in a row, they're getting rhythm for the drive. They're not allowing them to do this. So it's no surprise to me that Aaron Rodgers is the leading rusher.
Not only that, they're allowing Aaron Rodgers to throw like 50 times a game, too.
Yeah, he threw 38 times yesterday. I mean, that is not an unnormal thing for them to do.
Well, the week prior, he had like 59 attempts.
Exactly, yeah, especially that, yeah. So I think that they really, they need to at least let them get some kind of rhythm.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. They need to have some way figure out how to run the ball. And Todd Montgomery was supposed to be the running back, quote-unquote, hybrid receiver yesterday, but he was out due to illness, which was very surprising.
Yeah,
that was kind of
a kidney issue.
And they kind of took a shot at some fantasy lineups yesterday, including mine.
That's okay. I dropped him before the game ended.
I can't drop him.
I
can't.
I had a spot, so I dropped him and I picked up somebody. I don't need him.
I do.
I don't need him as a running back. I had receivers. I had a bye week that kind of killed me.
Well,
I had Antonio out. So
in my league, you can start 3 receivers, so I have him as my third. So that way I can play with 3 running backs.
Well, yeah, nobody had him in our league. I picked him up because I had Antonio Brown out, and so I needed an extra receiver. So I picked him up. I was like, oh, he had a good game last week. And then I added Cole Beasley, but I didn't need him to win. I was going to win no matter what.
But I agree with you on this. The Packers need to find a way to get the running backs in rhythm. Because you can't.
For all we know, give them more reps, they could break one.
Exactly.
Give them a chance to do so.
At least give these guys 10 touches each.
Yeah, literally nobody had more than 6 carries, Rodgers included. They had 108 yards as a team, but 60 of those came from Rodgers. Which is understandable. When you scramble, you have more open yard. But again, coming from Niles Davis, get him in space. The guy makes plays in space. Don Jackson, I believe me, I know he's an athlete. Get him in space. Ripkowski is more of a downhill guy. He's a fullback. Maybe not him, but they're not doing anything to allow plays to be made from their running positions. So if they can do that, maybe they would have won this game. Maybe it would have been more of a
kind of like how the Falcons
even offense.
Kind of like how the Falcons used Devontae Freeman yesterday. Let him get in space.
Exactly. And then the last game of the night, the Sunday Night Football game, the Eagles and the Cowboys. Another game that went to overtime. Another game I was like, tie.
I was like, no.
It goes 29-23 in favor of the Cowboys, who moved to 6-1 on the year, 3-1 at home. The Eagles dropped to 4-3 after a 4-0 start, I believe. Now, currently, Dak Prescott, 287-2. He threw an ugly pick early in the game, but what impressed me most is he came back and threw almost the exact same play, learned from his mistake, and threw a touchdown to Dez Bryant. Ezekiel Elliott, 96 yards for him. Dez Bryant, on his first game back after his injury, kept him out most of the year this year, Sorry, 4 receptions for 100.
It was like 400.
Yeah,
Like,
4 receptions for 113 yards and a score. Again, the Cowboys could be undefeated right now. We talked about it before. So this team is playing great.
Be.
And Jerry Jones has already said that Dak's starting the next game.
Yeah, and good finally.
Yeah,
good.
After
and this
that
team,
win,
this,
man.
After this win, Dak Prescott practically played his worst game for the majority of last night, and came back and led his team to a win. And that says a lot about him as a quarterback more than the Eagles defense, because this was a stingy Eagles defense. Remember, we've seen them play throughout the whole year. They were containing Ezekiel Elliott. They held him under 100 yards, which is pretty impressive to me, in my opinion. And Dak Prescott was like at least under 50% completion percentage throughout the entire game. But Dak Prescott shows some poise. He's very resilient. Got his team a win, and I think Cowboys are Super Bowl contenders now. I really do think so.
Well, yeah, they're 6-1 on the year.
I have to say it. They're Super Bowl contenders. I'm very impressed by them. Very impressed.
How the year shapes out. Now, as opposed to a lot of the games this week, both kickers 100%. Caleb Sturgis made a career-long 55-yarder right before halftime. That was I picked him up on my fantasy team.
All right.
You go, Caleb Sturgis.
And then,
you go, baby.
I just want to say this real quick. This Dak Prescott versus Carson Wentz quarterback battle is going to be one to watch for the next 5 to 10 years, in my opinion. This is going to be a heck of a quarterback rivalry.
I like it.
I think we saw the beginning of something special here.
All right, man. I think
we did.
All right, let's take our first break, and then we are going to talk Monday Night Football. Now, if you're sad, we didn't talk about your team, so on and so forth, well, that's because a lot of teams run byes this week. So don't worry. Your teams will be out there next week. So you fans out there of the Giants, the Rams, the Steelers, the
Niners,
Dolphins, the Niners,
and the
Ravens.
Even though the Niners lost in the bye week.
Yeah.
They lost 31-14.
Still somehow, the Rams, Dolphins, Giants, Steelers, Niners, and Ravens. Y'all be back next week. So let's take that first break. We'll come back. We'll talk Vikings, Bears here in just a minute at the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
And we're back here at the Golden State Media Concept Football Podcast, and it's time to talk Monday Night Football, and that is going to look like the Bears and the Vikings. Soldier Field tonight, Halloween. You got the Monsters of the Midway taking on the Purple People Eaters.
Oh, I like that matchup. It.
That's a good Halloween matchup.
There you go right there.
Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty, the in-depth of this, let's just agree on one thing, Jeremiah. The Vikings are winning this football game.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, they are.
Jay Cutler is back, and he will play in this game as Brian Hoyer broke his arm. As unfortunate as that is, I was very upset to see that happen. I like Brian Hoyer. He was a Steeler at one point. I do enjoy him. He's been on the Browns, the Steelers, the Patriots. He's been on the Texans. He's been on the Houston Oilers. He's been on a lot.
Okay, calm down. He hasn't been on that.
Not actually.
I know, but you're exaggerating because he's been a journeyman quarterback his entire career.
Yes,
remember,
you're very right about that.
I'm not sure if you mentioned the Browns.
Yeah, it was the Browns.
Okay.
He was actually not bad with the Browns.
He was pretty good with the Browns.
It was pretty much the Patriots for 3 years. Don't forget the Cardinals for 1 year in 2012. The Browns for 2 years, Houston for 1 year, and Chicago. They don't include, for some reason, the Steelers on this because I think he was released after the preseason maybe. But he was on the Steelers at one point as well. So there you go. Now let's look at this game because enough about Brian Hoyer. I'm sorry, Mahomes, but you are not playing you former Michigan State standout, you are not playing. It's going to be Sam Bradford versus Jay Cutler. Bradford's looking not too bad, coming off their first loss of the year. He looked a little mortal, throwing his first interception of the year. Well, one person that can teach him about interceptions he can learn from watching and not doing is Mr. Jay Cutler. Tonight's going to be a tough game for him, I feel like, because the defense of the Vikings is arguably the best in the league. You still have the safety Andrew Sendejo out from last week. He did get hurt, I believe, on one of the interceptions he had against Carson Wentz. And your starting center, among other offensive linemen, is hurt as well. And out of this game, your starting center, Zach Karen. So, again, a lot of problems there for your offensive line. Jarius Wright's still questionable, and Marcus Sherrills, one of your leading corners, is questionable as well. Looks like they might play, though. Everybody on the list of the Bears are currently questionable as it stands from Saturday. We'll see who does and does not play. Cameron Meredith probably going to play in this one. Josh Sitton has been questionable all week, and Langford is still trying to battle back from an injury he had earlier in the year. But Jeremiah, it's no surprise to anybody listening to this show that I am probably going Vikings on this one.
I'm going to go Vikings as well. And this is a tough game for Jay Cutler to come back.
Well, I mean, look at the currently
like, he could not come back against a
worse team,
a harder team.
I mean,
oh, yeah. Exactly.
Currently, the Bears are averaging 0.9 points a game. You look at the points allowed for the Vikings; they are sitting at 14. So you're right up the alley about the points that they get anyway. I think that they are going to shut down this Bears offense. I don't see the Bears winning this game. If they win this game, somebody sold their soul for something because
hey,
I just don't
Halloween.
see it happening. Exactly. Somebody made a crossroads deal. That's
a conspiracy right there. Wow.
I don't see them winning this game. I really don't. You have losses 26-10, 17-16 against the Jaguars, 29-23 to the Colts, and most recently to earlier in the year, was 31-17 to the Cowboys. They're not winning any games. One of the only win was a 17-14 win over the Lions, and that wasn't a confidence booster. So I definitely see the Bears losing this game. They don't have. There's no Brian Urlacher playing tonight. There's no Devin Hester returning kicks.
There's no Charles Tillman anymore.
You don't have no Gale Sayers in the backfield. No Tillman. No nobody. You don't got Jim McMahon at quarterback. You don't got Gale Sayers and Walter Payton head in the backfield with the Fridge as your fullback and Dit Buckus as your middle linebacker. You got nobody. I'm sorry to tell you, but you got nobody.
No. The Bears are one of the least interesting teams in the NFL.
They really are.
They're one of the most
boring teams.
Yeah, too.
You have a premier receiver, Alshon Jeffrey, and he doesn't get the notoriety because they don't play for a winner.
I honestly think if I'm Alshon Jeffrey, I want to trade.
No, he's a free agent.
Okay, now I'm leaving.
Yeah,
unless they happen to make a splash at quarterback,
like Tony Romo.
Who would you rather play? Who would you rather play with, Tony Romo or Jay Cutler? Come on, hello.
Well, with that offensive line, I would rather get a young quarterback that can take the beating he's going to receive.
That is true. Because we don't know if Tony Romo can take a hit. But yeah, I have to feel bad for Alshon Jeffrey, and now they might have to go to a running back by committee now because Jeremy Langford is probably going to come back. He is questionable to return.
And you can't just all of a sudden bench Howard.
Exactly. So Howard,
on fire.
he is going to he earned a role here. And don't forget in the third string running back there, I think his name's Kadeem.
Kadeem carries more of a receiving back, but he has his time.
But he still has earned a role as well. So they're going to have to go running back by committee.
Kadeem will probably still get the receiving stuff, but it's going to be interesting to see how they do with Langford and Howard. I mean, Howard has 352 yards and a score on the year on only 73 carries. So, I mean, he's playing well.
So, yeah, this is the least interesting team in the NFL, probably the least the second to least watchable next to the 49ers. Well, 49ers, you can't embarrassing to watch.
I don't watch those games.
Yeah, I was really glad they had a bye week just so I didn't have to watch them. Really glad. But, yeah, honestly, I think it's best to skip this game and go trick-or-treating for all you guys out there.
For all you kids. Take your kids out if you're parents. Just maybe don't watch this one.
I think you should feel pretty good about skipping this one. Or you could put on Charlie Brown. It's a great pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
Yeah. How many years it's been since I watched that movie?
There you go.
Been some years.
Or you could watch Hocus Pocus. You know,
or Halloween Town,
Halloween
or
Town,
a scary movie, not like a
or scary movie,
novelty Halloween movie.
or a scary movie,
or
the
scary
or
movie.
no scary movie from the Wayans brothers. You know that one.
No, it's not scary. Oh, you mean the original scary movies?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I said. Yeah, or
1 and
the
2.
scary movies, not a scary movie. I like.
Or you can watch
scary
scary movie.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Let's see. You guys say like, what's your favorite scary movie? No, I'm kidding.
No, see, that question comes from my favorite scary movie.
What, Scream?
Scream, yeah.
I love the first Scream.
I like all of them for what they are.
I like one. I like 1 and 2. I would love the first 2. I don't like the third one as much. The fourth one, I hated the fourth one.
I thought it was fine.
Fourth one, oh my goch, that was so stupid.
I thought they did well because they've always known what they are and they've always kind of made fun of themselves for it. So especially the first one, you know, it was almost a jokingly scary take on scary movies, you know. So that's why it's my favorite. I definitely like it, and the whole Drew Barrymore in the beginning, you know, somebody who's becoming a breakout star and he's just straight killer.
That's one of my favorite scenes in cinematic history.
Yeah, Wes Craven just really set up a really shocking moment.
Because I honestly, before the Scream movie came out, that slasher genre kind of got lost a little bit.
Yeah, it died after the 80s.
It brought it back. So Wes Craven's a legend for that. So.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Good call.
I don't know who or what favorite scary movie is.
My second, if it helps you at any bit, is Halloween.
Halloween?
The original.
With
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh, yes. Okay.
But I did really like the Rob Zombie one, the remake from like 2008.
Did you?
I loved that one. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. It was
that actually wasn't that bad.
It was very throwback to the original, but modernly done, so it was enjoyable.
Okay,
and you know what? I just realized that I get to watch some scary movies today. That's awesome. I don't get to watch.
I think when they have pop open a pumpkin
I also
beer.
really like Insidious.
I haven't seen Insidious.
You should watch it. Unfortunately, Netflix took them off because they're idiots and don't realize that it's Halloween. And you know, those are two of the most popular scary movies in the last few years. I did like Insidious 1 and 2.
Okay.
And The Conjuring wasn't bad either.
I've never seen The Conjuring.
The Conjuring wasn't bad. James Wan is the director of The Conjuring. I'm a big fan of him. So if you're a fan of scary movies, he's a good director.
Yeah, I think today I'm gonna pop open a pumpkin beer and watch The Walking Dead because I did not see the second episode.
Oh yeah. I forgot The Walking Dead.
And after watching the first episode, I'm like, OMG! I'm not gonna say anything on here because I don't want to spoil it for people. I was like, wow.
You mean after the
first episode? Yeah. And I'm like, wow, really?
Well, I'll tell you something real quick before we get moving. So James Wan, if you like scary movies, he did The Conjuring 2. He did The Conjuring 1. He did the follow-up, the prequel Annabelle. He did Insidious 2. He also did Lights Out, Saw, and I'm very excited he's going to be the director of Aquaman. So.
Oh yes, okay.
And he did Fast 7.
Oh, you know my favorite.
Furious
7.
My
favorite. You know what? I'm gonna make a throwback for my favorite scary movie.
He also did Saw 2.
I'm gonna have to go with Carrie. I like Carrie.
The original.
The original.
Did you ever see the remake?
I did. I didn't like the remake.
It was okay. It wasn't good in terms of like it wasn't. Didn't do the original justice.
I expected it to be that way, but I like.
That's kind of how Annabelle was.
I like the original Carrie. To me, it's just a classic, man. And the end of Carrie gets me every time.
Yeah, man. It's
I don't know why. It just does. I know it's gonna happen, but it just gets me.
Well, I think tonight I'm gonna watch some James Wan movies. Like I said, The Conjuring, Conjuring 2, Annabelle, Furious 7. If you're into that, Saw 3,
Furious 7,
Insidious 1, 2, and 3, Lights Out. He did all of them. He even did a movie called Demonic back in the day. This dude just loves his scary movies. Also, if you're a fan of scary movies, you know one that wasn't bad before we get going. Well, I could talk about just one last one. Sinister wasn't bad.
I didn't see that one either.
Real quick, I saw that here out by Arden. They have the sensory theaters, right? Those big dome theaters.
Oh, they actually tore them down.
Did they?
They did, but they're rebuilding a new one.
Cool.
In that same area.
That's too bad.
Yeah, I drive by there.
My girlfriend works at Arden Mall. I haven't gone down far enough to see this. To see this. But there's a scene. So that movie's about like you watch this video sort of, and like the guy in it kind of traps kids, and then he gets them to kill their families or whatever, right? And one of the deaths happened, and he's like talking about all the cities, like, you know, Cleveland, blah, 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 this city. He goes, Sacramento. And where I saw it, he goes, you just hear a bunch of people in the theater go, oh, no, that's where we are. You know, like, and they got all scared. So that was pretty fun.
Okay. All right. Okay. One last thing. Don't worry.
We'll come back and we'll do top AP 25.
Okay. One last thing. We're talking about Disney Channel original movies here. Yeah. And, you know, you dropped Halloween Town. I also said Hocus Pocus, which is on Disney Channel every year.
Yeah.
I wonder if anybody remembers Don't Look Under the Bed.
I remember that one.
That was that's a very underrated Disney Channel movie. No one talks about it. I don't know why.
Nobody does.
All right,
Good call,
but
man. Good
yeah,
call.
I had to say that.
That's all right. Yeah, I like it. There you go, fans. Happy Halloween. We're going to take our last break and come back and talk the new AP Top 25 poll here in just a minute, and we'll get out of here. And that's going to be it for us. So just give us 1 second here to do this commercial, and we'll be back to talk college football, the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Do you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
And we're back here at the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, and it's time to end the show with every Monday's similar way of doing so, and we're going to talk AP Top 25. So 1 through 6 is the same: Bama, Michigan, Clemson, Washington, Louisville, Ohio State. Tomorrow is going to be a big day because Jeremiah and I are probably going to talk a little bit about how we see the first playoff rankings going now that we have a pretty established top 6. The rest of the top 10 as it stands: Texas A&M moves up 2 spots to number 7, Wisconsin up 3 to 8, Nebraska down 2 to 9, and Florida moving all the way up from 14 to 10. Auburn's up 11 after moving up 4 spots from 15 up to 11. Oklahoma's up 4 spots as well to 12. Baylor down 5 spots to 13. Excuse me. West Virginia down 4 from 10 to 14. LSU up 4 to 15. Utah up 1 despite their loss to UW this weekend from 17 to 16. Western Michigan on the rise again, 20 to 17, up 3 spots. North Carolina up 3 spots to 18. Florida State following their loss this weekend down 7 to 19. Penn State up 4 from 24 to 20. Colorado still moving. Now you got a few more teams in the Pac-12.
I know you're excited about the last one.
Up 2 spots from 23 to 21. Oklahoma State comes in the rankings this week, not the only non-ranked team from last week, moving into 22. Virginia Tech up 2 spots to 23. Boise State, after their tough loss, drops all the way down 11 spots to 24. Actually, did they win or they lost?
They lost to They lost 30 to 20 to Wyoming.
There you go. Thank you, Wyoming. And coming in at 25, formerly unranked, my favorite college football team in the nation, Washington State, currently undefeated, still in Pac-12 play, defeating Oregon State. Coming in at 25.
I gotta tell you this. I think UW. If you're a UW, you have to root for the Washington State Cougars because you play them at the end of the year.
And all they're doing is making your wins that much better.
Exactly, that too.
So they play one at the end of the year.
But will Washington be in the top 4 by then? Who knows? Because I think Cal and USC are pretty tough games.
Yeah, they'll be tough games. I don't think we've talked about this before. Washington, we'll talk about tomorrow, could very well. I asked Ben if he thinks that somebody can jump them into the playoff.
And I think it could happen. I think it could.
And we talked about it. And if it goes the way it's going right now, they'll have to play Utah again in the Pac-12 championship game. So we'll have to see what happens. But so that's our AP Top 25 poll for this week. As it stands, that is what it is. Tomorrow, Jeremiah, we have some discussions we want to do. But one of them I want to talk about is a preview a little bit of the first playoff rankings. Yeah,
and before we go, we have to report on some breaking news that Andre Johnson is announcing his retirement later today.
Yeah, he's had eight receptions for I think like 95 yards and 2 scores. But
I think he's the top 10 in yards and receptions, I believe, in the NFL.
He can't be top 10, but he doesn't have over 100 yards.
No, top 10. No, I'm talking about of all time in his career. He's
definitely got Hall of Fame numbers, but no Super Bowl to speak of. So we'll have to see how that goes. We'll talk about him a little bit more tomorrow as well.
I just want to break it.
There you go. You broke it. All right. Well, that's it for us today. As always, we're going to be back tomorrow. We're going to recap Monday Night Football. We're going to do what we said we're going to do and talk a little bit about the playoff rankings. We're going to talk a couple other discussions as well.
Exactly.
So you guys just be excited for it because it's going to happen. It's going to be awesome. But until then, we got to go. As always, we'll be back tomorrow with brand new content. Just Jeremiah and I, because Anthony will join us on Wednesday. We want to say have a happy and safe, productive Halloween. Watch some scary movies. Watch some football. Watch some people eat candy. Watch some trick-or-treaters and make sure people are safe.
Watch people eat candy. Wow.
Well, like if you're a parent, you know.
Okay, that sounds a little better. The way you said it didn't sound good. I'm sorry.
Go buy some candy. Eat some on your own. Who cares? Turn your porch light off. Just eat it and enjoy it.
Or you can pass out candy to trick-or-treaters, but I got to say something, guys. You guys got to be safe, drive slow, because, kids are not going to be able to see your cars, and I don't think you're going to be able to see them.
Yeah, there'll be some kids dressed in like Kylo Ren all black.
Exactly. So, yeah, just be careful out there, guys.
Yeah, especially if it's, I think it's supposed to get a little rainy tonight also, so be careful.
Yeah, it is supposed to get a little bit of rain.
Wherever you live.
Well,
here at least.
Here in Northern California. Yeah, where we live at.
So if anybody's listening from Northern California, be safe, be smart,
or
be aware.
Or SoCal.
SoCal too. So be safe, be smart, be aware, and go scare.
Oh, I like it.
You like Ooh. Thank you for listening. For Anthony, as always, I'm Alex.
I'm Jeremiah.
We'll see you guys tomorrow. You enjoy the rest of your holiday and enjoy football, and we'll talk to you then.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.